Yeah, let me
Welcome to those of you watching on YouTube. This is Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. I'm your host, Steve Riccardo. If you want to hear this entire show with intros, outros, and music, please go to Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, etc. Please welcome to the show our friend, my friend, Keith Bennett. I was going to say Keith
ah!
Bennett, but I did
Oh,
say.
you motherfucker. Cheers. Hi everybody.
Okay,
Cheers.
just to so people know what we're talking about, you told a story the other day at the Middle East about the first Wrecking Crew tape that came out and your name was spelled wrong first and
Yes.
last.
Yeah.
No
Fucking
comment?
well, I mean, what are you gonna do, man? You talk about like a wah 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 moment. It was, what were we, 18? It was my like first record. Like the 7 inch was awesome, and that was spelled right. But the first pressing of the record, like our first album, we're like, oh, you're so excited. You get the box. It's like it's here. And we're all at Glenn, our singer's apartment. Oh, look at this! Oh my god! Boom, boom, boom! And just reading everything and just taking it all in. And then the very, very at the bottom is like not just one name misspelled, both names misspelled. So yeah, so Keith Bennett, and
I
and
can
that
sympathize. I can sympathize. My first and last name gets spelled wrong all the time, both the first and the last.
how are you gonna? I can see Riccardo getting fucked up. How are you gonna misspell Steev?
Well, I spell my name Steev. You know that, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You cheeky little monkey.
Well, speaking of Glenn, because you brought him up, I wanted to talk to you about the show. I mean, my impression of that show was, why isn't there an all ages show every single Saturday at 1 o'clock? Wasn't that a lot of fun on Saturday? I'm talking about, for you listeners, Verbal Assault, my old friends, Verbal Assault, The Long Wait, and Sonic Bomb at the Middle East upstairs Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. It reminded me of the CBGB days, man.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, I should probably, for the benefit of clarity for listeners, I I'm head of security at the club we're talking about. They're definitely open to it. Like, I mean, they had them for years and years and years, and I think it just there was never anything like we're not doing these anymore, or like because they have hardcore shows all the time. They just don't have matinees. I just I just think it was just something that kind of got like put to the wayside because other people like Jimmy Flynn, who just passed away, was doing them down the street at the Elks Hardcore Stadium. So I don't think it was anything that the club didn't want to do it. It just kind of happened. But there's been a lot of talk that we're actually trying to push forward to. Actually, we're really pushing to start in the springtime to have Zuzu as just because that's a front room. It's a really
Mm-hmm.
small room where we can have bands play their first show. You know what I mean? Or like just that nice little middle ground where like a smaller band can grow. It's like it's no frills. It's two microphones, a little tiny PA, and a little tiny room, and it's like back like A7, O'Brien's, like little places. Like that's how shit starts, man. And not to shit on the club I work at, but it's been a little weird, ever since COVID, where we've just trying to like get our footing back. That there's been some disconnect. I mean, we've had cover bands on a Saturday night, and that's not right.
Yeah.
We're the fucking Middle East, not Faneuil Hall.
Now
Yeah,
you have a long history of working with clubs. Aside from playing in clubs, you've worked with
yeah,
clubs for a long time, haven't you? When did you
yeah,
start
man.
doing that?
I dropped. Well, I dropped out of high school the year before, and I started working at the Paradise when I was 17.
The parent. So how long ago would that have been? 90s?
No, 80s. I'm 54, man. So I dropped out of high school, so I'm not good at math. So I don't know. It was the last century. It was
It
many
was
many
the last
worlds ago.
century.
Yeah.
And so you've worked at pretty much every club in Boston?
No, not every, but I mean, I've been around because I mean, more often than not, I was stagehand. I'd be more on the technical side of things.
Mhm.
I was the world's worst monitor engineer. I'm a decent guitar tech. I'm a great stagehand. I can pick it up. I can load it. I can unload it. I can tape it down. I can do set changes real fast. I can not be an asshole in the barricade. Like take care of kids. But as far as like getting your sound great, don't let me near a mixing board. I will ruin. I ruined many shows, man. But as far as like venues, I've pretty much like in one capacity or another, I've worked a lot. I can't say all of them because I mean there's some worlds, some scenes that are just it's its own thing. Like the dance world, like that club scene, never really fucked with, you know. But I've been I'm an old dog, man. I've been around, dude.
Yeah, you've never been an asshole either, by the way.
Yes,
I've
I have.
I've
I
never,
I have.
not when I've been around, I've never seen that side of you ever.
Um, it, I'm glad, man. I'm glad. No, that's just. I mean, just you live, you learn, and you grow. But yeah, I wasted decades, trying to be somebody I wasn't. It definitely, I definitely made a lot of situations worse. I definitely thought, at the time, I thought I was getting respect when it was more just like, no, that guy's a fucking asshole, you know. So here we are.
Yeah, well, it's not easy being at shows and clubs around because there's alcohol, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. And I remember Boston being a lot crazier than it is now. It seems to have mellowed out now. You can go to a show and not get punched in the face, you know? You can,
Well, you're
but
going to
not
the
as
wrong
much.
shows.
I just wanted to ask you what you thought about the show. Did you have a chance to check any of the show out on Saturday? Because I thought it was a fantastic show.
I did like, well, because I'm not like it's the CIA or anything like that, but I'm the head of security, so I'm constantly like moving around. We have five
Yeah.
rooms and just setting up and shit like that. I caught a little bit of Sonic Bomb, and they were great. It was cool seeing JoJo in a more aggressive band, but it was absolutely like her spirit, her style, and Chris is a ripper, and he's just a great guy. Long Wait, I was the original singer for the Long Wait.
Yeah, you
So,
were.
but I mean, dude, they rip. They absolutely rip.
Incredible,
I
right?
caught like three or four songs. Verbal Assault. Um, I did get to see most of their set because by that time, like anything I need to get up and running, I had the wheels in motion, so I could chill, and it was really good. It was weird for me to see them, and not because they were older. I mean, we're all not kids anymore, but like to me, like Verbal Assault, they were never a youth crew band. They were never like Youth of Today, like that kind of thing. Like they're far more, not, I wouldn't say cerebral, but they definitely had more of their own thing going on. Um, there was a little bit more to them than just like straight no frills hardcore. But it was just kind of weird to see them because I was never really like, I liked them, but I was never a huge fan. That I never went out of my way to see them, and that's no disrespect to that band. They'd be on. I'd be psyched when they were on a show that I was at. I had Trial. I think everybody had Trial. It's a fucking great record, but I just, I don't really have a lot of vivid memories of them. So to see them, 30, 40 years later,
Yeah.
there was a bit of disconnect, and it was cool. Like it, in a way that it almost reminded me of the Proletariat, like how when the Proletariat came back, I got that vibe, especially from the singer.
Chris, yeah.
They had very similar, like not like Bono, but like kind of like messianic, in a good way. Like it was just interesting. Like they were very, very much, doing, they weren't taking pages from anybody. It was cool to see,
Yeah, I
but
liked
it,
it.
it just,
I thought Glenn and Chris both commanded the stage for each of their bands. It was really cool seeing singers up there like really commanding the stage, you know?
well, Glenn, and I've said it to him because I've seen the most of the other shows that they played, and it's half joking, it's half serious, and I was like, dude, if you had sang like that in Wrecking Crew, we wouldn't have kicked you out. He is he's a fucking beast. I mean, he was a beast in Wrecking Crew. Like we kicked him out because we were just egomaniac assholes, and we needed a sacrificial lamb. But he is even better now, man. Like he is.
Yeah.
It's like I love watching I love watching a great band, and it's even better when it's a great band as people I love that I have history with. It's a good feeling. It makes you feel just kind of part of something.
Yeah, those guys, man, in the long wait, they're so good. Every one of them is just a great player. Daryl Shepard, I mean, God, the guy has become a guitar god. I've said this before in the show, but I can't help myself because he's so good. His sound is just so like powerful, you know? And the whole band, Jamie, Mark, Steven, they're great, man. What you said about verbal assault being more cerebral, that's a good way to talk about. They're from Newport, Rhode Island. So I
Well,
mean,
dude, I'm from Brookline. I'm not from Brooklyn. I'm from Brookline. I get it. You know.
yeah. I before we get into Death Ray Vision and Casket Rats, I wanted to talk to you about something that was a real eye opener for me. Your acoustic set at the Brighton Music Hall.
Well, it wasn't a set. It was one song.
It seemed like a set to me.
Yeah, an ordeal. It's like, when is this guy gonna get
No,
done,
it was
man?
more than once. It was more than one song. You played more than one song besides Rocky
Oh fuck,
Raccoon.
that's right. Dude, wet brain. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did like three. All
yeah.
right, I was only supposed to do one.
I didn't know what to expect when they told me that Keith Bennett was going to be doing an acoustic set. I was like, what? And then you tried to get me to go up there with you to do Rocky
Yeah,
Raccoon, and that's just not. I would have needed to like have my glasses on and my phone and looking at the lyrics.
dude, did you see the size of my notebook? I'm blind as a fucking bat. Like, did you see that?
yeah.
It was. It's like 2 feet high. It was like turn. And, yeah,
That was at the Rock Garden Records showcase that you sat in. They did a bunch of Beatles songs that day, and you did Rocky Raccoon. It was fun, man. It was fun.
yeah,
I just wanted to bring that up. Talk to me about what you were doing yesterday, because I know Casket Rats is in the studio now.
yeah, yeah. I was. We're recording a full length album. We have a 5 song EP that's about a little over a year old. That we put it out ourselves. You can get it. We can get it on. It's on cassette at our shows, and it's on Bandcamp, Spotify, all that shit. This is we're doing a 9 song full length with Alex Garcia Rivera at his studio. It's called Mystic Valley Studios. It's all analog,
That's
and
incredible.
he's
Is it a 2-inch machine?
dude. You're asking the wrong. I'm a caveman. I don't know. I know it's analog. I can't spell analog, but it's analog.
That's great, though. The drums are going to sound amazing because I love drums on tape, man. That is
Yeah,
really. So, how many songs?
nine. 9 songs, and I mean it's if people aren't familiar, and most people probably aren't, we're a hard rock band, and so we have some longer ones. We have like a 6 minute song that's got acoustic guitar on it. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's a leap.
I
It's
saw
a
you.
leap from all the other shit.
I saw you guys at Notch Brewery about a year ago. That was
That
good.
was
Oh,
with Long Wait. That
yeah,
was with
that
Long Wait.
really
Yeah.
good, man. You guys are a good band. You're in a couple of really good bands, actually. Is Casket Rats have any kind of a deal at all going on? Or are you just going to independently release it?
No, well, the plan is that we're we're recording this thing, mixing it, and then even packaging everything. We want, before we shop it, we want an absolute finished product, so that whatever we out absolutely want a label. And with the type of music that we play, it's hard rock. It's Kiss, Thin Lizzy, UFO, Motorhead, ACDC, Rose Tattoo, The Cult, like that kind of thing. Like we're knocking on every door. You know what I mean? Like we're starting. I don't even know how. A record company is a fairly obsolete thing nowadays, but we're just there's with this type of music, I feel like there's no door that's too big. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, whoa,
Right.
you know what I mean? So we're going to start at the top and work our way down. But whoever we decide is, mutually, obviously, that, we're going to work with them. We just want to hand them, all they got to do is slap their logo on it. And, I think that's another good selling point, besides the fact it's a ripping band, that, we're coming with a done deal.
Yeah, that's the
You know,
way to do it these days. What's the writing process for that band?
it's pretty much half and half between, you just warming up, like when we practice, and just start doing something. So he goes, "What's that?" Nothing. Keep playing it. Keep playing it. Give me this beat. Do that twice. And we have half of the songs are probably like that. And then there are a few like, it's like, oh, I've had this kicking around for 7 years, but I was in a black metal band and we couldn't use it. We have a few like that. And I don't know. It's a nice team. We work really well together.
Do you ever like write when you're alone? Do you write
Yeah.
songs? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
do it on acoustic or?
I do it on acoustic. I do it on an unplugged bass, an unplugged, like anything. I mean, actually for me, because I don't drive, I walk. If I walk or take the T, and mostly walk, a lot of my stuff is I'm just in my head. Like I'll hum a riff, and people probably think I'm a nut anyway, but I'll be walking around, be like, no, 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 and then I'll kind of air guitar it like da na 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 na. And then when I get home, I'm walking up the stairs going da na na na. Then I'll grab the first instrument I see and see if it works.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of like a rapper would do it almost.
Yes, sir.
Because you always see these guys walking down the street rapping with their headset on, and they're making up rhymes and stuff, It's
Dude,
cool.
it's art, man. That's creativity. That's like that's wordplay. That's wordplay. I'm not, as it comes to no shock to anybody. I mean, I'm not incredibly well versed in hip hop, but the wordplay and just the quality of their use of language is absolutely inspiring. Like there are bits and pieces I take from rap and hip hop.
Do you have any gigs coming up with Casket Rats, or are you just focusing on recording right now?
We're focusing on recording. We are starting to book a 10-day run in May, like the end of May. We did one in August, end of August, that went really, really well. And now we're doing this, setting up, basically we're either starting or finishing here, and we're going down, we're working our way down as far as Atlanta, and then doubling back.
Cool. Doing the whole East Coast. That's nice. Yeah. What did you do last time in terms of dates? Did you go down the East Coast?
East Coast dates. We did 10 dates. We did St. Vitus. We did New York.
I like St. Vitus. I was down there when Roadrunner Records was recording spots for their documentary, and that's where they had me come down.
It's
and
a
I was
great place.
there. It was during the day, but the place has a great vibe,
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, like, I forget. This is gonna happen a lot in this interview. I forget. I really forget. Like, we did Virginia, we did North Carolina, Maryland.
I remember when you did that. I remember when you did it. I just
Yeah.
didn't have the dates. I'm just pulling something else up here because I wanted to use a reference point here.
Oh, I know that the last date was we were doubling back. We did RPM Fest out in like Western Mass, out in Montague, Mass. It's
Montague, Mass?
Yeah.
Where the hell is that?
Exactly. But dude, it's beautiful. This is either the 9th or 10th year, and it's grown, and it's there's 2 stages, vendors, camping. It's turned into something really, really great.
What is that, in the Berkshire Mountains?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but it was beautiful, man. We played on the Friday, and then we stayed over, and I woke up. I'm a morning guy. I woke up at like 7 a.m. the next day, and there's it was like just 80, 100, 150-foot pine trees surrounding us, fog, like that light misty fog. It looked like the 13th Warrior or something. It was fucking amazing. It was great. But it's a beautiful place, and it, like, the fest itself is phenomenal. Like, it's a great vibe, really well run. We had a great set. Fucking
all metal?
Ass. No, it's heavy, but you got everything. Like, the big headliners were Black Tusk and King Parrot, and then you would there were some grind bands, some hardcore bands, some stoner bands, and there were a couple of rock. Like, we were obviously the rock band, but then there was another amazing band that played the same stage as us. The next day, I think it's from Connecticut, Killer Kin, and the
Oh,
singer
yeah.
is like,
Yeah, yeah.
he's a cross between Iggy Pop and Steven Tyler. Like they're kind of like the MC5. Like it was a phenomenal set. Like, yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
Um, I like what, a lot of people that aren't familiar with Massachusetts just think of Boston. They have no idea that there's a whole nother world out there. Like Northampton to me is one of the cool towns. And then you
yeah.
further out you go, you were probably near Lee and Pittsfield out in that area. If you're in the,
Sure.
I've never heard of that town, but I believe you that it's there. So, Death Ray Vision. You signed the Metal Blade Records, a label I worked at many moons ago, and I admire them, especially Brian Slagle. I think he's one of the most solid human beings around, the owner of Metal Blade. Now you stepped into a situation where the band was already signed. Pete Cortez, I'll never say his name right, Mike D'Antoni,
Cortese.
Cortese.
I always thought it was Cortez,
Yeah,
but
I know who he
it's
is.
like Scorsese.
I know him and Mike from Overcast,
Yeah,
and then basically they were signed the Metal Blade, and are you the second singer, or did they have more than
I'm the third. I'm the
third
third
singer?
guy. Yeah, but we weren't signed to Metal Blade when I
Oh,
joined.
oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
they had previously been with Tooth and Nail and Bullet Tooth. I think Bullet Tooth is the same people from Tooth and Nail. I think one record was on Trustkill, and they had a couple of EPs too, and I forget what labels they were on. But no, we weren't signed when I joined.
Okay, so tell me about how you know these guys, because from my understanding is you used to play with them in when you were in other bands, like you've known these guys for a long time, right? They're like a Worcester. Overcast to me is like a Worcester area band. So,
Yeah, well, like out that way, like so starting at the very, very beginning, um, I loved Overcast. I was a little late in the game to Overcast. Like they got on my radar when they started blowing up, like blowing up locally, like not nationally, like but and I think the first time I saw them was at the Paradise. It was them, and it was a weird bill. It was them and Scissor Fight and maybe Sam Black Church,
ooh,
but they were the opening band, and they just for anybody who isn't familiar with that band or never saw them live, they were an incredible band. And I was just fucking blown away. And then I'd see Brian, the singer, uh, in my neighborhood, like in Alston. He worked at Blanchard's, and then later he worked at Toscanini's in Central Square. Like, and I'd see Pete around, I'd see Mike around, but like just acquaintances, like a nod, like hey, what's up, man? That kind of thing. Neither good nor bad, just like hey, what's up. Then when Overcast broke up and it was Shadows Fall and Kill Switch, they really weren't my thing. Like I'm an Overcast guy. Like I love Overcast. I was really happy that those guys were, as huge as they are. I mean, those guys platinum records and huge bands, and that was cool. Like seeing like hometown guys like taking Boston, taking Massachusetts to the world. That was great. But like the music, like I said, it wasn't something that I dislike. It was just it was more not melodic, like mellow stuff, but like they're very influenced by At the Gates, um, In Flames, like that's melodic Swedish death metal sound, which I'm just like, I'm all right. I don't fuck with it, you know.
Mike is
But
still in Kill Switch, right?
oh hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the bread and butter, man.
yeah,
That's the bread and butter. Death Ray started after Shadows Fall and Kill Switch were starting their like rise, their trajectory, where they, were getting into that, they were on that next level where they have very regimented schedules. So they had downtime and they wanted to do something that was, more hardcore, like
yeah.
stripped down. Like they say all the time that their reference points were, second Cro-Mags record and Leeway,
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah. And that's how Death Ray started. Then you know Overcast did they've done a few reunions, but Panzer Bastard, my old band, we got asked to play with them at the Middle East on one of their first reunion shows, and that was great. And then right around that time, I did a Halloween. In Boston, there's a tradition of metal bands doing cover sets, and there was a little kind of like quote unquote all-star band that was doing Entombed. They were doing the Wolverine Blues record front to back. And Pete was in the band. And I ended up being the singing for it. That was great. We got along fucking great. And then about 2 years ago, that's when Pete called me, and he's like, I know you're busy with a bunch of things, but would you want something else? And I said, sure. And the funny thing is for about 4 months, I didn't know that it was Death Ray Vision, because we were still in lockdown, but we were
Right.
just getting out of lockdown. So things weren't really open. And what was happening was I would get sent, a file, like one song at a time. And it'd be like, they wanted to see my lyric writing, if I can come up with my own vocal lines, things like that. And they would send me something, and I would have a week to write, a week to kind of practice. Then I would go, I'd take the commuter rail out to our other guitar player, Chris's house, and he had a home studio where we actually did most of the record, and we'd do one track at a time. Then those guys would listen to it, make notes, and give me another song. Then probably after about 4 or 5 songs, I had the conversation with Pete. He's like, listen, I know you got the hard rock band. I know you're a really busy guy. How do you feel about being the singer for Death Ray? And I said, thanks, but no thanks. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, dude, here's the deal. Got Casket Rats, I got us, and I got my acoustic thing. I don't think I can do a third band. He's like, are you fucking with me? I'm like, no. Like, did you know that this was Death Ray Vision? No. And honestly, if he had just called me and said, hey man, Death Ray's looking for a new singer, would you be interested? I would have said thanks, but no thanks.
So
Because
how did they convince you to do it?
Well, they didn't have to convince me. The thing is, I had known of Death Ray Vision, but I had never listened to them because they were a side project of 2 bands I don't listen to. So you know what I mean? It wasn't like, fuck these guys, I wouldn't want to do that band, they suck. It was, I'm pretty sure like they're going to sound like Shadows Fall and Killswitch, and that's not my jam. It's like, I like the Specials. I don't want to be in a ska band,
So
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, did you think you were playing in a band that didn't have a name that
I
was
thought I was a brand new fucking project. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So did you record before you got the deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
We did
talked
a whole, sorry, what?
with Chris Rosati, is that his name? Chris
Yep.
Rosati? Yeah, so
Yep.
you recorded the whole thing at his place?
Yeah. Yeah. We did, well, so the demo, we demoed the whole album, and there's 2. So there was like 14 songs. So we have demo versions of 14 songs. Chris and I did the vocals at his place.
Right.
And then everybody is far more technically adept than I am. They all have their own home studios. So they would, record on their own. And then when that was finished, they shopped it. And then, Metal Blade obviously dug it. And then we went back and we recorded all the drums at Mad Oak, and then everything else at Chris's studio in his house.
Was that with Benny Grotto?
Yeah, Mr. Benny Grotto.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He's good. He's real good.
He's a good man.
Do you know anything about the details of how the band actually gets signed to Metal Blade, or was that like Pete or Mike doing the business on that end?
Oh, I know exactly how. You want to know
Cool.
why?
Yeah.
They were captivated by the handsome front man. They're like, we're going to make that kid a star. Now the real version.
Have you met Brian Slagle, by the way? Have you met Brian yet?
No, I would love to, man, because I'm a metalhead. Like that was, I was talking earlier about like, record companies not really being anything in modern times. But dude, 14-year-old me, I'm signing, like I had them take a picture of me when I was signing the contract. I had like, dude, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck like what record companies are like right now. me, that like Metal Blade, Mega Force Combat, and Road Racer before there was Roadrunner. Neat records like those. That's what I grew up on, man. That was like I don't give a fuck what it is to anybody else, but to be on Metal Blade for me means a lot, dude.
Oh,
Means a fucking
it's a
lot.
great label. It's outlasted all of those other labels too, you
Yeah,
know. It's well, Roadrunner's still around, but you know,
yeah,
Combat's long gone. But I remember Megaforce and Combat, and I remember when all those labels were that was the 80s you're talking about, man.
yeah, dude. That was the shit. Like you know, and it was the same thing with like you know with hardcore and punk. You would you know Exclaim, Discord, Touch and Go, you know, and then in England it was like you know Clay and Important and you know Red Alert, Partisan Records. Like it was like if it was on these labels, you just bought it, and if you didn't like it, it was kind of your fault. You know, it was like it just you know the labels were just as important as
Yeah,
bands. You know,
yeah,
back
that's
then.
what I really like about you is you're a real fan of the music and you know your shit. Even though you called me Artie Puffkin, what was his name? Artie
Fucking
Puffkin. Even though you said I reminded you of Artie Puffkin when I met you at the Paradise. I forgive you. It's okay.
thank you,
Um,
thank you.
so so the deal happens, right? Were you like, I mean, how did you find out that you were getting signed to Metal Blade? Did Pete call you and say, hey, guess what? We're going to be signing with Metal Blade.
I'm pretty sure it was Mike. Mike is you know Mike is the business guy. Mike is a
Mike's
really
handling the business. Yeah.
yeah he's it's very impressive to watch his work ethic. And you know he would you know keep everybody in the loop. It's like well you know I'm gonna send it here. I'm gonna send it here. I'm gonna send it here. And you know and he'd report back like you know what you know people were saying, what you know what the feedback was. And you know we have this weird gray area that it's not that I'm not privy to it. It's just I don't care. It's not my world. But I think we have management. I don't really know it because there's a lot of stuff that's piggybacked on you know via Kill Switch. And I you know so I don't know if we do or if it's like sometimes Kill Switch's management will you know do us a solid. I really don't know, but I know that you know they had a hand in you know knocking on some doors. You know, it's like I'm not gonna lie, like the Kill Switch connection absolutely helps. And I mean, you know,
Yeah, of course.
and it would be stupid not to you know take advantage of that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if we weren't a good band, you know, it's like that's only going to get you so far. And you see that over time and again with history. It's just like just because somebody's has a member of a good band doesn't mean that like you automatically are going to get over or get a free pass just because you have to be good.
Yeah,
You know, and I like
just because Metal Blade isn't referred to as a major label doesn't mean that they're not a major label. They are a major label
they
in
are.
terms of
They
their
are.
power, you know?
Absolutely. And I mean, and especially, you know, for a metal band,
Yeah,
Metal Blade's not bad, man. Not fucking bad,
you
dude.
know, big time distribution all over the world. So, you know, you got a record on that label and it comes out all over the world. Speaking of the record, No
Yeah,
Mercy from Electric Eyes came out in June. Um, the one thing that really caught my eyes, the songs are all great and everything, but when I saw the From the Rafters video, I remembered I talked to you the other day and I'm like, I got to do some research. I totally forgot that I watched that video when it came out and I watched it again. What's the story behind that? Did you guys have anything to do with it? It's got a bunch of police beatings in the footage, and it's
yeah,
really an aggressive, you know, it really speaks loudly. Did you guys have a lot of say in the video? Did a direct?
100%.
So it was
No,
your
that's all absolutely. That's one thing. Like we're not gonna like the two videos that we did, you know, were 100% us. And there were things in the first video, the the first video is the idea was better than the finished product, and that was 100% my fault. Like, um, I think parts of the Behead the King video are corny, and but it was worth trying. You know what I mean? Also, it was like I've never been in it. I Wrecking Crew did a video a long time ago, but that doesn't count. I was a bass player. I wasn't the singer guy. And it's like, you know, there were shots of me like walking around. I had this like dolly cam strapped to me. Like
yeah, I
it was
remember that.
very uncomfortable. You know, and it's like, and it's one of those things where like you want to, perform, but you don't want to look cheesy. And it ended up like I see it. Maybe I see it through a different lens, but I look very uncomfortable, very like just, I don't know. Like, I don't like watching that. From the Rafters is a completely different beast. And that song we don't do anything. We're not that kind of band that isn't, everything is 100% us.
So you
Every word
guys
out of my,
came up with the concept for the video?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
Whose
you
idea
dude, you
was
can't,
it?
it was everybody's. Yeah, it was everybody's. I mean, the thing is, like, you can't, we have a song, it's an anti, police violence song. It's an
Yeah.
anti-tyranny song. It's a very angry, call to arms. It's like, what are you going to do? Have us like, trying to look cool, like standing behind like, graffiti wall, and, just like playing. No, dude, it's a topic. I mean, we're not crass or Rage Against the Machine, but you got to, we got to shoot our shot. We got,
Political. It's
we can
very
say
political.
something. Might as well say it.
Yeah, I really like it, man. It's heavy. It's hard to watch, but you have to watch it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch. I mean, that's the people that's getting done to. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're having a considerably worse day than anybody watching it.
So what's the plan now? Now, have you guys done any gigs?
Very few, very few. Because we work around the kill switch machine, which is, and I absolutely fine. That's what it is. I talked about gray area. We're 100% an active band, and maybe we're a side project and maybe we're not. How about this? I hate to do it, but it is what it is.
I'm really
And what it
surprised,
is what it is great.
yeah, I guess Metal Blade must have agreed to allow that. They've had side projects on that label before, so it's not the first time. But sometimes you have the label that demands that you go on tour and stuff. And
Oh, they'd definitely be happier if we were. I mean, the thing is like there's over and over again, there's the kill switch machine. Also, we have fathers in this band. Like, we have people, and not like quote unquote real jobs, but guys who, Mike and myself, obviously radically different levels of success, but like we're lifers. And the other guys are in varying degrees of activity in music. And that's not to say that when they're involved in Death Ray, their commitment is 150%. It's not that, they're slacking or anything like that, but like, everybody has lives and we all respect each other's choices. So, we can't, unless we were direct support to Kill Switch Engage, we can't go for 30 or 60 days. This band can't do that.
yeah, I
And
get it.
that's understood. That's not a sticking point with anybody. But what we try to do, hopefully what we can do is, less is more. Like, what's going to be the most effective thing. I don't want to jinx anything, so I won't say exactly what it is, but in the next week to 10 days, we're going to get an answer on some really cool shit that is not going to be any lengthy touring, but they're going to be very effective, high profile gigs. And if we get them, it'll be huge for us. So we work as hard as we can with what we can do, with what time we can do it in.
I guess this is good for you too, because you got Casket Rats and you got your
Absolutely.
acoustic thing. And
Yeah.
was around the time where you almost joined Long Wait, I guess you actually did rehearse with those guys a few times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So was it kind of like were you in a situation, wow, what should I do? Should I do Death Ray? Should I do the Long Wait? Was there a crossover there, or was that an issue at all?
Oh, well, no, I mean, dude, I was a greedy bastard. Some people never get one band, and I'm like, I'm trying to do three. And it just really, there were no hard feelings. It was just, I was missing practices. It's like I'd be tired, or like, my wet brain, I forget that I'm like double booked, triple booked. I'll have three different doctors, a tattoo appointment, and two band practices on the same day that I'm supposed to speak at a meeting. it's like that's how it goes, and it's not great. It's funny, but like it's an issue, and that's what happened. And it's like, I had to take that breath and look at it and be like, man, I'm being greedy, and it's not fair. It's not fair to these guys who are like, because they're heroes. They're all fucking heroes of mine, and I'm grateful that my heroes are my friends. We have that history too, and it was just tough to be like, let that gift go. Like,
Did
but
did you
it all worked out.
did you play a role in getting Glenn into the band?
No,
How did that
no, but when
happen?
I
Do you
heard it
know?
was perfect. No, I mean, it wasn't, but it wasn't like out of a spiteful thing. I wasn't like, oh, well, fuck you, good luck. I mean, I'm sure that they had, I don't think that was one thing. It was like, well, okay, well, we part ways. Like, what are we going to do now, guys? I'm sure it was, not like in a Machiavellian way, but, dude, they're pros. I'm sure that, it was like, look, this isn't working out with Keith. Yeah, well, who should we talk to? Well, let's talk to this guy, that guy, and they're like, I don't think they were going to make the move to cut me without having, somebody coming right in. That's life, man.
Yeah, I
And
only asked that
when it,
question because you and Glenn played in a band together for a long time.
yeah,
You guys have been together for years.
no, he's my brother. We are
Yeah.
like beyond brothers. We get along better now than we ever did in Wrecking Crew, man. That's the beauty of life. No, and when I heard that he was the guy, there was nothing but love, man. Absolute fucking joy. And you see it. Anybody who's going to see Long Wait, he is the guy, man. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah, he
And he's never
fits.
sounded better.
N-
That is where he's supposed to be.
As far as Wrecking Crew goes, I know that you guys were supposed to play with Negative FX on that huge reunion show, but now I understand you're not doing the show.
Yeah. Unfortunately not.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear that. Do you
Yeah.
think there'll ever be another reunion with the Wrecking Crew, or is that like going to be a one-time deal?
I honestly don't know, because the thing is, like, there's a lot of, these quote unquote reunions, and it's one guy and, new people, or, and we don't want to do that. We all, like, everybody in the band gets along better. Like, in the last 20 years, we've gotten to be better, closer than ever. Then, even though we were all really close, like, I mean, we started that band, we were like all hanging out together. We were just like these, degenerate shitheads in Kenmore Square and started a band, but you get older and you live, and you hopefully you wise up a little bit. Like, you just see what's really important, and just like what we had, just our friendship alone, besides, like, we were a band, we were one of many, but we're proud of it, and we had great adventures, and we're all still around, and we're all still healthy and happy, and we have great lives. There are wives, there are children, like, we have, we got some stories, and it's important that we just love each other, and we're not going to do it if one of us can't do it. That's not
That's
right.
good. I like that.
That would make everything I just said null and void.
Yeah,
It's
I like when
all for one, man.
Yeah, I don't mind when you have to replace a few guys. Like DYS has a new band, except for the two of the originals. But I was going to ask you a couple more things. One was, what do you think
Yeah.
about this amazing interest in SSD puts out they have a record from 40 years ago. Now DYS coming out this week, Brotherhood. I mean, what do you think about this? It's pretty amazing, isn't it? 40 years later.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I mean, it's weird putting beautiful and SSD and DYS in the same sentence, but it is. And it's important, and it's necessary, because those records, those were fucking, shots heard around the world. And now they legit, like, now, like, you don't have to pay $1,500 or, like, get some bootleg thing. It's like, these guys are getting the respect that they absolutely deserve. They earned this. Like, and these records are important, and they're not just a document. They're not just like a snapshot of a time. It's not nostalgia. You put those records on right now, you're going to get the same emotion, the same feeling, the same power right now. Like, a 12-year-old kid needs to hear those records right now. Somebody out there is going to either buy that by mistake, or maybe they're going to have a cool uncle, or, a cool dad who goes, this is my guys. You need to hear where I'm coming from. And it's going to have the same impact it did on all of us. And that needs to happen. And Joe Nelson is a fucking savior for doing this. That you talk about giving back, like paying it forward, paying it back, all that shit. That guy, man. When I grow up, I want to be Joe Nelson. He's a good man.
Talking about Joe from Trust Records. Also,
Fuck yeah.
Bridge Nine's doing the DYS thing. So these labels, I think it's fantastic that they're I mean, Boston all of a sudden, that not that the hardcore scene didn't get its due because Gangrene became really probably the biggest one of all the bands, but every one of those
What?
bands.
No, they didn't. I mean, no. You ever hear a Slapshot? You ever hear a Blood for Blood? Death Before Dishonor?
I'm talking about the original Boston hardcore scene.
Pardon me. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I'm talking about SSD, DYS, Jerry's Kids, Gangrene, The Freeze. Did I say FUs? I'm talking about those bands. I
Okay.
know. I know how big Slapshot is.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
surprised you weren't ever in Slapshot. Everyone else
I
was in
was.
that band. You were.
I
When
was.
were you in? Okay, I figured. Okay, when were you in the?
I was in Slapshot for I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Okay, is it on the Wikipedia page? Because I feel
I
bad that
don't
I
I don't
missed
know.
that.
I don't think Jack would want it on the Wikipedia page. I did that and then I filled in like so that was back like Firewalker era. That was
Oh yeah.
between Jamie and Chris. That was back when, Wrecking Crew, we went through a period. Well, it was a long period of time where like we were one of those bands like, I think those guys all hate each other. And we kind of did. And it was just one of those things where just, I was thinking I was hanging out with Steve Ristine and, fuck these guys. He's like, dude, play bass with us. Yeah, that'll fucking stick it to them, because we were the rival, we were the two big bands, man. We were the rival bands, it was like the Crips and Bloods, but not. Yeah. And I did one show with them. We played at I forgot the name of the club, but it was at the CMJ down in New York.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was maybe not the Limelight, maybe the
Mark
Marquee. It was the Marquee. We played the Marquee. And Sepultura.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, and I remember Sepultura. There was an S&M club right across the street, and Sepultura played there the same night. They were playing there while we were playing.
So was that with Mark, Steven, and Choke and you? Is that the lineup?
Yep.
Wow. Huh,
Yep.
I don't know how that one slipped by me.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was the one gig, and then it went great, man. And then I think like a week after that, it was like, dude, don't join Slapshot, man. It's like, stop being assholes to me. It's like, you stop being a dick. All right, I'm sorry too. And here we are. And then I think maybe going on 10 years ago, Ryan Packer couldn't get into Canada for a show, and I played. The lineup was Benny Grotto, Craig Silverman, Jack, and me, and we played up at Le Catacombe up in Montreal.
Oh,
that was a great gig.
So you've played more than one gig with Slapshot. Two gigs. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow, I should have known.
I fucking love him. I don't think Jack Loves me, but I love Jack.
I think you're not the only person that would say that, actually.
Well, I'm very much, I mean, people watching this now, it's like I'm pretty insufferable. I'm a lot. I know it. At least I know it now, but I'm still not really working on it. But I could definitely be a yapping little puppy. With Jack is very close to the vest, and I'm Daffy Duck. It's chalk and cheese, man. Choke and cheese. It's choke and cheese. So Jack, if you're watching this, I love you, brother. I have nothing but respect, man. Sorry.
I don't know if we can top that. I think that's where we need to end it.
Okay.
Hey Keith, man, it's always good talking to you, and I'm sure we'll run into each other around town. And thank you. Thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. No, I love you, dude.
For a third time, actually.
You fool.
Take care, man.
All right. Bye, buddy. Have a good day.